What's going on, guys? Kevin Cage here with another crypto update. We're going to dive into some recent news today and go through the price charts. So first up, we have shared by Coinbase Institutional, we have XRP futures coming soon. So right here we can see that Coinbase Derivatives has filed with the CFTC to certify XRP futures, bringing a regulated, capital-efficient way to gain exposure to one of the most liquid digital assets, anticipating the contract to go live on April 21st. Now, over the past week, it might have been my last video, we discussed the Genius Act and the Stable Act, basically regulatory frameworks for stablecoins in the United States. Now, speaking of the Genius Act, we have Roth sharing this, an absolute must follow, and he's pointing out this interesting paper he found titled Regulatory Clarity in XRP, The Path to Global Institutional Stablecoin Adoption. So he links the paper down below, and this is actually from a professor over at Marquette, and he sees the Genius Act as a very positive development for the Ripple US dollar and therefore XRP. And this paper was written by David Krause back in February, so basically a month before the case was announced to be effectively over. Now stay with me here, he says Ripple's state-level licensing victories and the Ripple US dollar's compliance under the Genius Act position XRP as a bridge between traditional finance and blockchain innovation. These factors collectively affirm the thesis, XRP's embedded utility, regulatory progress, and relationship with stablecoins reinforce its status as a pioneering functional cryptocurrency, contingent upon resolving legal ambiguities and scaling competition. Again, why is stablecoin regulation so important? Because stablecoin clarity in the United States is the first step to enabling large-scale tokenization. For access of liquidity, instant settlements, bridges between traditional fiat currencies and the crypto ecosystem, and right here, providing collateralization for trading tokenized RWAs. So now we're on RWA.xyz, we can see the total number of RWAs or real-world assets on-chain at 19.8 billion, so we're just going to round that up to around $20 billion. There are a variety of reports out there discussing the potential value of tokenized assets by 2030, so within the next 5 years. The lower range is around like $2 trillion, and the higher range is around $16 trillion. We have BCG right here highlighting this report, estimating around $16 trillion. They also have right here the best case scenario of $68 trillion. We also have this report by McKinsey & Company titled From Ripples to Waves, the Transformational Power of Tokenizing Assets, and we can see this was dated back in June. And they say right here, we expect that the total tokenized market capitalization could reach around $2 trillion by 2030. However, this does exclude cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and stablecoins. And a lot of these reports don't include cryptocurrencies, which really makes you wonder what is the actual potential of this value. Now, using that big range of $2 trillion to even $16 trillion by 2030 and comparing with where we're at today for total RWAs on-chain and crypto, nearly 20 billion. If we said 2 trillion divided by 20 billion, that is 100x. And if we looked at that business opportunity of $16 trillion by BCG, so 16 trillion divided by 20 billion is 800x. So all good if you think that huge range is laughable, that potential is crazy to imagine, but that is the potential, and even if we get a fraction of that value, trillions of dollars, that is a very big deal. Traditional finance is connecting to Web3 today. Of course, we have the advent of spot ETFs, but that is just the beginning. We have assets being tokenized as well. And regulatory clarity for stablecoins and crypto assets is an even bigger deal. And by looking at the trillions of dollars in the global equities market and the global bonds market, you know the potential. And when we look at the growth, so we started basically at zero. In 2018, we had $24,000 of alternative funds. It started climbing into the dozens of millions of dollars, and then it finally broke over $1 billion right around, I believe, 2021. So right around here, we broke over 1 billion. And since then, we have been steadily climbing year over year. And we ask ourselves, if we're going to see this parabola, this hockey stick growth, where are we at in the adoption curve? And a lot of analysts compare other tech shifts or technological shifts we've had. I think it's most accurate to compare to the growth of internet, specifically Web 2. And I think a safe big range to compare where the crypto asset class is in terms of adoption and number of users versus the internet is similar to the internet back between 1995 to 2005. So it's good to see the XRP ledger has recently been integrated into the RWA.xyz website to keep tabs on the total value of RWAs on-chain. Down below, we have the Ripple US dollar, we have Archax, and Open Eden, so it'd be really cool to see the addition of more groups, maybe SPI Holdings or Zonix. Now we can see here that Hedera hash graph is still yet to be integrated into RWA.xyz. And down below it says the networks are still in beta, so expect to see more networks added in the future. And I like this platform and want to use it to keep tabs on other networks because as far as I can tell, they're verifying these holdings and updating it each month. And us in the crypto space have been waiting for years for a platform to basically aggregate the data to give us at least rough estimates of RWAs for tokenization, similar to what we have for DeFi Llama, which basically tracks the total DeFi total value locked. Per Hedera, we know that Aberdeen sits on Hedera's governing council. Them and Archax partnered to tokenize a money market fund on Hedera, at least a portion of it. And we can see right here, tokenizing part of its £15 billion Lux Sterling money market fund. So if you go to archax.com/invest, we can see this fund right there. We could probably expect to see things for Zonic similar to the XRP ledger in the future, and then even considering Red Swan right there for the tokenization of high-value real estate. And even back to this article in June shared by Archax titled, Ripple collaborates with Archax to bring hundreds of millions of dollars of tokenized RWAs to the XRPL. And according to RWA.xyz for Archax, we can see total value at $44.9 million. Now looking at Hedera, we can complain about the mainnet TPS and the testnet TPS since Atma.io left. But I know they're working on a variety of cool things such as Equity Lab, Intel, and Nvidia with verifiable compute. Now maybe I missed the news, but I thought this was set to go live in Q1 and now we are officially in Q2, and something to know is that this framework leverages HCS. And when looking at Hedera on Dragonglass, we can see that 99% of transactions are Hedera consensus services. Back in February, we did see a huge bump in the number of accounts created on Hedera, but then in March it came back down. Alright, let's dive into a couple price charts. I'll do as many videos as I can this week. It just depends on the noise because they're finally working on the rooftop and the walls with all the flooding issues I mentioned from the past storms. So fun stuff per usual. But anyways, looking at Bitcoin dominance, we can see it is climbing. When Bitcoin dominance goes up, as Bitcoin pulled back, currently under 80,000, alts get hit really hard. So looking at Bitcoin dominance, the higher that this goes, while Bitcoin is falling down, the worse it is for alts in the short term. So nothing new, just waiting for the inevitable crash of Bitcoin dominance eventually. We can see the monthly RSI is around 70. If this pierces, the momentum continues and Bitcoin dominance can run a bit higher. So based off of Bitcoin dominance going up, it is Bitcoin stealing the show right now. So what Bitcoin does is really determining what the performance is for the majority of the market. We can talk about all the geopolitical stuff, the huge crash in the equities market, etc. But point being is we are crashing. Right now, we are below this orange moving average. This is the 8-month EMA, so we are right here, and we got to see where this monthly candle body closes. And just looking at the monthly structure, we are in an uptrend. If we are falling down, we absolutely want to hold this range of the 2021 cycle top and the 2024 cycle high. So lots of volatility going on right now. In a perfect world, as we fall down, we find our bottom somewhere above the previous tops, consolidate, and keep running. But in the worst case scenario, I would be watching the 50-month moving average, this yellow MA. So I can speculate on all the geopolitics leading to more monetary printing in the future, but in the short term, we have no idea what type of volatility we could see. So basically high level, if Bitcoin does fall into this purple box, I'm hoping that we can hold the bottom of this purple box, consolidate, and blast higher. If we lose this level, then I'd be looking at the 50-month moving average. Alright, next up, the XRP price chart. So looking at this recent wave, you could do basic looks even on the monthly from the start of the impulse, swing low to swing high, look at different retracement levels within this box. Alright, next up, we have a really good look by Credible Crypto highlighting the XRP price chart on the 2-hour time frame, and this is a structure he's looking for. So we originally posted this last month, so I'll pull up this chart, and he was looking for a retracement and a recovery. And his looks based on this is for XRP to get double digits regardless. And I think this look could apply to a variety of assets based on Bitcoin dominance's position with its monthly RSI potentially about to pierce and run higher as Bitcoin's RSI is pointing down. Based on the market today, just be very open to volatility, dropping further, periods of consolidation and boredom, forming a bottoming structure before recovery. Alright, and one last thing before we call it a day. So I shared this back in October, highlighting the exact dates of the last 2 alt seasons with XRP, and we can see XRP saw its highest period of ROI during the crash of Bitcoin dominance for the last 2 cycles. So this is when we are getting close to Bitcoin's first major move in November, and then we can look at today. We have Bitcoin dominance on the left versus XRP. So I was wrong here. I thought alt season was going to begin right around the time of Bitcoin's first major move because that's what it did last cycle. And of course, it's never that simple. We pulled back, held the 8-month EMA perfectly, and then we kept running higher, so we were still waiting to find our top. And the only other thing I want to point out here is we have yet to experience another alt season. We have yet to see the crash. The last 2 crashes were the last 2 alt seasons, and during the last 2, that was when XRP had its highest ROI. So, not financial advice, believe whatever you want, but I believe when we do see the crash of Bitcoin dominance, we're going to see a very exciting period. In the meantime, we are still waiting for Bitcoin dominance to find its top. I absolutely hope it doesn't go above the previous top, and we do find our topping structure somewhere in this area. So per usual guys, thank you so much for watching. A big thank you to all that hit the like button. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I will catch you in the next one. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to smash the like button and let me know your thoughts down below. You can find all links to my crypto resources, including tools for charting, trading bots, wallets, portfolio trackers, and exclusive discounts right in my link tree in the video description. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.